It was insane. Like, I keep saying, like, it's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I was a spot where I was at it wasn't even like a particularly bad time. I just wasn't feeling great.
Yeah.
And I just gotten out of therapy, and I saw a text from my wife that said, "Look at this clip," right away. And I just like burst into tears, like making ugly sounds, like.
This is Good One. I am Jesse David Fox, senior writer, Vulture, and author of Comedy Book. My guest today is Beck Bennett. I always found Beck to be great on SNL, be it characters or impressions. But maybe more than anything, he was a particularly gifted straight man, able to drive premise-based sketches. And we talk about some of his standout work from his run on the show. But I was really excited to talk to him after I interviewed Sarah Sherman last spring, and she told me about Beck's reputation at SNL.
Everyone's favorite in the entire building of 30 Rock. Beck Bennett has the best reputation.
I've talked to a lot of people at SNL. I've talked to a lot of people about SNL, and I've never heard someone talked about that way. It's a tough job. It's hard to be nice when you're stressed. And I was curious about that unique legacy. So here is Beck Bennett. I am here with Beck Bennett. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
So you have a new podcast.
Yes.
What's Our Podcast? You host with Kyle Mooney.
Absolutely.
And the premise is every episode you have a new guest. They come with a new premise for the show. You then do that premise of the show. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, so it's been, I believe, 4 years since you were on Saturday Night Live and you worked a lot with Kyle.
Yeah.
What has the last few years been like? Obviously, you stayed friends, but like last few years that you were like, now's the time for us to do a thing together. And then why is this the thing that you decided to do?
Great question. I think that we were good with creating like a TV show or a movie. We've done a lot of that stuff even before the show. And we both have children now. Mm-hmm. And it's an odd time in our industry where the particular avenues that a comedy performer used to have, that they're not necessarily there. And I think we both wanted to just have something, just have a creative outlet mm-hmm. where we could make money, and stabilize our lives, where we weren't having to take jobs that took us away from our family. So it was really like, let's do something fun, because we don't do stand-up. Kyle, we both perform. Kyle performs a little bit more than I do, but like you have to come up with the thing and get the equipment and go to the venue. And like, it's, so really it was like, we shared an office for all 8 years and a dressing room for 7. And there was so much just fucking around and making each other laugh. So much stuff that didn't make it onto the show. And so we missed performing live. We missed that sort of like sitting around in a room, that sort of creativity, which to me, and I think to Kyle, is some of the most fun. It's like for us, but it's also like, I was just watching an intro to one of our episodes that hasn't come out yet. And I was like, the section where it's just us hanging out, I think it's like our 11th or 12th. And I'm like, this is the best yet. We're finally like figuring it out, like how to do it on camera with the podcast. And it feels really fun.
It is interesting. I feel like I've had a lot of conversations these last 3 months, but especially just generally post strikes, where like a lot of people who went down the path of like the system, and like Saturday Night Live is the most classic version of it, being at this point where they're like, I need to own something that is mine.
Yeah.
I can't depend anymore on just sort of like things falling to, because there aren't the same thing.
Yeah, and it used to be like creating a show, which is something I think a lot of us are still doing. But like with, you don't have your like IFC or your Comedy Central or all these, other smaller cable networks that are supporting these voice, or even like, even just like multicams. Like if you wanted to do that, like the writers are not there anymore, then the shows aren't there anymore. Like it's that sort of like global streaming model. Yeah. And so comedy doesn't really translate. So there's less and less. And now it's podcasts.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So you've known Kyle for over 20 years. You met as freshman, I believe, at USC.
That's right.
Can you remember a story or a moment where you're like, this is my guy forever?
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I remember the first moment where I was like, this guy's so funny. And it was like, so I don't know if this is the exact moment, but this was, we both auditioned for the comedy, the college comedy group Cometus Interruptus. There was really only one when we got there. Now there are like 8, but it was like you would audition, then you got a callback, and then after the callback, they picked a certain amount of people to be part of a 5-week workshop. And then they picked some of those people to be a part of the group.
So funny when kids get to be in charge.
Yeah, they're like, let's see. I'll draw this out as long as possible. There are no other groups. We're the only option in town. And it was at the callback where like he had a callback within an improvised scene where he came in and was like, I don't remember anything else, but he just came in and was like, juicy juice. And everybody lost their shit. And I was like, this guy's amazing. And yeah, I mean, like after that first year, I think another part was like we were in different dorms that were connected, and we'd go up to his room to like pregame before going out, which meant like maybe going to another dorm room, and we would watch Best of Will Ferrell, and like it was just like fuck around, and he would do his like pterodactyl impression on like the top bunk of his dorm room, which is insane, and like. And then really the first sketch show, our comedy group did 2 sketch shows a year at the end of each semester. He had an idea, and like he kind of gave me the character. Maybe we both had characters in it, but like he was just very collaborative and, generous and, like just wanted to hang and laugh. And so it was kind of like that was the really solidifying. It was a couple moments.
It's so interesting because it's like, college is this time you're forming your own comedic sensibility, and he's forming his own comedic sensibility, and you're doing it sort of at the same time together. Do you feel like it's part of sort of the lasting of your collaboration? Is that sort of your sensibilities are both different, but also sort of forged in the same fire?
Yeah, I don't know, because they are very different. I think that, and Kyle, it took him, there's this sketch we did. This internet sketch, this Australian boat guy that I got to do because I could do an Australian accent. And like, he was like, well, yeah, Beck should do it, even though it was like his story and his idea, basically. And I think like it took Kyle a little while to find his persona, his style, like his Lakers interviews and stuff. And then it was like, oh, I'm as you do, you write for yourself. It was always that he was like kind of that Kyle energy, and I was like the actor who could like do accents, play different people, or be the straight man, and like or bring some emotion to it or something like that. But
I mean, on your Mark Maron episode of your podcast, he just goes like, "Well, you're the straight man; he's the weird one."
Yes,
and it did feel a little bit. You're like, well, I could be weird.
I could be weird too, but honestly, I've been thinking about that a lot recently because that is true. And like even in the podcast, I'll say stuff and Kyle will be like, "What?" I'm like, "Huh? What?" Like, I mean, he will actively be weird. He'll also be weird too. Like he'll be genuine at times where I'm like, "What?" I'm not used to this necessarily, but like, so we both can bring that energy. But I've been thinking about that Maron episode. And I am like, I think when we are our best is kind of when he is being weird and I'm being a little weird, but also kind of the straight man to his weirdness and like calling it out or like pushing him into like corners that he has to back himself out of. And that, like it is like.
Yeah, I mean, immediately I think of the dance sketch at SNL.
Yeah.
Which is like, you're not playing. In some sketches, you would be the weird one, but you just sort of are playing. It's like a different universe where the straight men are weird.
Yes.
And then there is a weirder guy.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think that's when we are functioning at our best. Sure.
Do you ever go back and watch old Good Neighbor sketches, the sketch group you were in with Kyle and Dave and Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I have. We recently did, we were interviewed for the SNL 50th, one of the documentaries they made. And they played us some of our sketches, and it was surreal. I mean, I go back and watch some. Some are surprising to me, and some I think hold up and are great, and I love them.
I asked partly because I was rewatching it, and The Lonely Island get a lot of credit for like broadly defined internet sketch comedy.
Yeah, they were our example when we started.
But I feel like a lot more people do what you guys did. Like I think, I watched Toast, and I was like, literally, this is half of sketch comedy post this sketch.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that you're more familiar with it than I.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that taking sort of the loose like found footage almost style. This is not a polished, produced video that you then put on the internet. This is like something that somebody picked up a camera and made.
Yeah.
Like that sort of style, which, is Dave McCary, our director.
Yeah,
really
an
found.
extension of like, and that's why you're always playing yourself, whatever, in the sketch.
Yes, which was hard. Kyle kind of reminded me of this at SNL when we got there. They didn't want us playing ourselves. And, it was challenging because they were like, this is network television. You need to make it look like something that could be on TV. And then we did the dancing sketch, dancing while doing, which was based off of singing while doing chores, an internet video we made. But they were like, you can't call each other Beck and Kyle. And then, so moving forward, I wish we would have fought more for that because honestly, I love Please Don't Destroy.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Yeah, they got to play themselves and just be in the office, which is the office that we used to have.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all three of them.
Yeah.
For us, it was just two of us. And I'm not slamming the show or any choice, but it is like if we were able to call each other Beck and Kyle at the very least and shoot very lo-fi stuff, I think we would have found a different aesthetic for the show.
It is funny because it's like if you listen to the Lonely Island podcast, they'll complain in about certain things that are ultimately what you guys got to do, and then the things you might complain about, it's what Please Don't.
Yeah, it's like you just kind of break the door down for the next person.
Everyone would have just been happy. It's why did they get to?
Yeah, just simplify. Just let us do kind of what we do, and yeah.
You were Performance Good Neighbor to open up for Kyle's show.
Yeah, it was kind of towards the end. It was almost like a little finish.
What was that like for you?
It was great. It was just really, really nice to be back with everybody. Dave was there as well. He came out as the Beast in the Toast sketch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really sweet. And that's kind of like Kyle too. He brings you into his thing. He's very supportive and loyal. And I mean, it was a great call to bring us back for his final show in LA, but
so you did Toast, you relearned the dance?
Yeah. It was pretty easy.
Or the routine, I guess.
Yeah, the routine. It's kind of baked in you. You just kind of got to get the little transitions down and everything. But yeah, it was just it was definitely that feeling of oh, we should try to do this. But then again, to the point of starting a podcast, it's well, then you got to think of what it is, and then you got to book it, and you got to it's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And then it's well, do we do old sketches? Do we do new sketches? How do we find this again? And really oddly, the backstage hang was it was great being on stage, but hanging out backstage and fucking around and feeling that energy and getting the dance, feeling the butterflies and seeing Kyle go over his stuff and then Nick coming up to me and being let's do it again. That it's just so fun. And I really miss it.
What is your either favorite because of the outcome or the experience of doing it sketch you got to do with pre-tape you got to do with Kyle?
Pre-tape?
Yeah. We'll get into the not pre-tape.
Okay. Okay. I mean, the thing that's in my head is dancing. Mm-hmm. Because that felt like doing one of our videos, and it was shot in my apartment, and we were laughing while doing it. And if when you're able to sort of have that for lack of a better word, DIY, we're putting it together. We're making the costumes, but kind of figuring it out a little bit more as we do it. It's just, you're more connected to it and it's more fun. So, and it was new and early and it did well, which a lot of our sketches didn't always do well. And then after that, I would say, what was the first? Wing with Andrew Garfield. It's a sketch, and this is largely from Kyle's aesthetic. The sort of, and his creation is the old sitcom style sketches. What's the name? It's a specific kind though. It's the a very important episode or whatever. And it's Andrew Garfield, and I forget what it was. He wants to have the last wing that we have. We're hanging out, and I basically sexually abuse him. Mm-hmm. And Kyle's he shouldn't talk to you like that. And I'm I pull up his sleeve, and I'm you've got a really nice body. You could use that. you know, don't let it go to waste. And like all the music and everything and like the weird transitions, like we had so much fun shooting that.
Yeah.
And like, so I think it had to be something at the beginning, you know, where we were finding it and laughing and it connected with an audience.
You're a trained actor.
Yes.
Where do you go to get to that tone? Like even right now we were talking and then you're like, now we're in the universe of sketch and you are whatever that tone is.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a specific tone.
Yeah.
And like the further we did those, I'm thinking of the one with Chris Pratt, where it's like a lot of the stuff I'm just like doing weird stuff. You know, we do the thing where we like walk out a door and just stand in the hallway and like, so it was like a lot of experimenting and seeing what worked, finding that line. But it's sort of like a little bit of a dead in the eye, sort of stilted. And like kind of to your point, like sitting in those moments where you're not speaking and the silence and the weird look and the shake of the head and like going in with like music and stuff and being like, it's just kind of experimenting, you know, play, but like sort of dead in the eyes and like trying to find like that the intonations that are sort of formulaic.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I'd like to have a good time with you. And really like, so kind of like being outside of it while you're doing it almost.
It is fascinating because it's like it's amazing how many y'all got to do with how seemingly poorly they played to the SNL audience. But you'll look and they'll be some of the most popular sketches of the last 10 years on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
But it's like a completely different world with these.
God, completely different world. It got less and less and less. By the time we did Beers with Larry David, and that was great. That played well. But what was it? The one with Ryan Gosling, where it was like based on the Steve Family Matters, Steve goes Stefan Urkel. Yeah. Like I remember, like that was so fun. Like Ryan, you know, is one of the best hosts. He gets it, and he's just supportive of weird ideas. And we were shooting late, and like Lorne visited set. You know, he probably made one of those jokes like, "Yo, this is my favorite one." Like. You know, we're like, did he mean that? Is he messing with us? Is this gonna go good? Is this gonna go well? We're laughing so hard while making it. Like the dance where we're just kind of moving. And we're like, all right, we're editing it, and we're like, we really found something. And then it's just like the most silent sketch I think I've ever seen play.
But 5 million people love it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It is funny that you're like, does Lorne like this, or is he pranking us? It's like it is.
Yeah, I mean, you never fully know. I mean, he is really supportive of odd stuff, but he also has to run that show and make it relevant. So he understands there's a space for both. Yeah, I think. But.
Other than Kyle, you mentioned you made those videos with the director Dave McCrary, and this is maybe an odd question, but it was one thing I was thinking about, which is, what's it like seeing your friend meet, fall in love with, and then marry a host, in this case, Emma Stone? You're like on the show, you're just like doing the show, and you're like, I think Dave's like falling in love with one of these.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I really saw it at the show. And maybe it was like, I feel like the episode was when she did one of,
I think Wells for Boys.
Wells for Boys, right? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And so like I wasn't there for that. So that was the one where he really interacted with her probably the most. And then before I knew it, they were dating and then it's just so much of it happened not in front of us. So it was surreal. It was strange, but also Dave's a very handsome man. Yeah. Very talented guy, you know.
That's it. It's sort of like I just remember when that happened. Because it didn't seem like it happened before that on SNL, and there was a small period where people who worked on SNL got to marry movie stars.
Yeah, and it was like, what's happening? And then like Pete's dating or engaged to Ariana Grande, and
and then there's like Jost and Scarlett. But you're like, oh, I think we literally wrote a story. It's like, if you want to marry a celebrity, try to become a writer on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Like for a normal person.
Yeah, not cast. Well, I guess people with Scarlett and M. Yeah, it's wild.
That's it. So, of the non-pre-taped sketches, I feel like the definitive Kyle and Beck one is Brothers.
Yes, yes.
Can you describe the basic premise of
The
it?
basic premise is that our parents are having friends over. I forget if they're new in town or if
They are new in town.
we're new in town,
I
or
think the
they're
premise
other
is-
people. The other people
no,
are
I
new in
think
town.
y'all are new in town because it's something like
Yeah.
No, we kept on having to move neighborhoods because
Yes,
of our
yeah.
sons.
But like I think we did. So the premise of the sketch is that they're like, yeah, it's so nice to meet you guys. Oh, you should meet our boys. Boys come down, and Lev, is it Lev or I've been saying
Lev
Lev.
Shriver?
It's
Lev
one
Shriver?
of Liev.
Lev. I think it might be Lev Shriver.
Lev. It's one of those names that like always bothers me, and yeah.
But you don't like it, not because you don't.
Yeah, because I don't like it, and so I don't say it right, even though I know how to say it right. So many names I don't know how to say right, and people who are in my lives regularly. And anyway, so he calls us down, and me and Kyle are wearing tighty whities and Looney Tunes, like big shirts, like pajamas or whatever, and we come down the stairs like fighting intensely. And he's like yelling at us to stop. And then to get us to stop, he pulls out a hose, which he keeps in the house plugged in, and sprays us down. And it's like a full jet of really like cold water, like spraying us in the face and like in the mouth. And like he calms us down. And yeah, he has us say hi to the guests. And we keep fighting over stuff, and it gets more and more physical. He breaks a plate over my head. I throw him through a wall. And then I'm like, Dad, tell him what you said. And Kyle's like, what, Dad? It's like, well, I haven't seen it in a bit, but he reveals that Kyle was a mistake. Mm-hmm. And Kyle's like, so did you want me? And it's just like, and so this other couple that's just come over to our house meeting, they're like, what the fuck is happening? And it was such a fun sketch because Cecily and Kanin are laughing, and that's just like so fun. It just felt like such a classic SNL sketch experience where we were making, some of the best performers who have ever done the show laugh, and we're doing stuff like, Chris Farley or Molly Shannon going through walls and breaking plates and getting sprayed with water. And
was it cold? Like
it was very cold. Yeah, we were like, get it in your mouth, get it like in your hair, and like. Yeah, it was just because so many sketches at SNL, you see that growing up, and you're like, I can't wait to just go nuts.
Yeah. But
you get there, and as so many people know now, you have to hit your mark and say what's on the cards because they're cutting cameras live, and you can't mess with that. And to get away with something physical on stage is hard because there are a lot of sketches that go to dress where people are doing physical stuff, and the crowd is like, oh no, are they okay? And it doesn't work. And it's like, oh, that's clumsy or awkward or, So it was just such a great, this thing coming together. And like, I've always been into that. Like I have two brothers, he has two brothers. And we just love this sort of like, we did a similar sketch, I think one of our senior years in one of our comedy group sketch shows where it was brothers, and it was more about our parents getting divorced, and we were fighting at the dinner table, and they were trying to tell us that they were getting divorced. And we just kept fighting, and then we were like, it was a similar type of thing, and talking about how the family was breaking up. And
a little bit later we'll talk about your history on the show playing dads and husbands and whatever. But I feel like if you're not playing a dad or a person who could be a dad, you are often playing a baby or a little kid. Even if you're playing adult, like your comedic voice is, I'm being a little kid right now.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? Or what is it about little kids?
I have no idea. I mean, I know where the dad stuff comes from. Like, I just have that kind of energy. Whether it's like the voice or whatever. But the little kid thing. Now, so I'm like, I actually haven't heard this point. So, but obviously there's Baby Boss.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of what are the other, like, are there specific other kids that you can think of?
Well, obviously the character is like, it's like the Chuck E. Cheese type thing you're doing or whatever. Where you're
Poggy Pepperoni. Yeah.
You're adults, but like you are being like little kids.
Yeah.
Or often in sketches, I do feel like if your character is being the weird one, there's like an infantile quality that's happening where it's like you're an adult, but you're like having a tantrum essentially.
I am not quite sure. I mean, like maybe just like the foolishness, the silliness of that people who think they're in charge have naturally. I feel like that's probably it. And the temper tantrum stuff. I mean, like I've just always found like the the dad yelling to be very funny. I had a dad who had they still have this dad who has like a big voice, and he would like yell a lot. And so I think, and he was very funny, and he still is. But
now that you are a dad, or now that you have a kid, has it informed your understanding of comedy?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if it has. I mean, my son is so funny. It's so simple too. But as far as like what I create, I don't think it has. I'm not, but I do think, I mean, it has started to affect just where I come from, what I want to do, obviously, but that's more of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I do. And I don't know if it's like becoming a father or just this time in my life, but you know, I'm less, I think I'm just sometimes less excited by things that are like just weird or subversive or pushing boundaries as much. So I don't know exactly where that comes from.
Like that's interesting. Is that partly just you know, like obviously you can be like, oh, you had a kid and you realize, oh, just making a funny face is actually what comedy is, which is not what you're actually saying, but it does seem like in general, you just for whatever reason personally are more leaning to just like be funny normal style.
Be funny normal style. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know I don't think it has to do with being a parent. I think it has to do with being like wanting to have a less like instead of just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, it's like I kind of want to be like a little bit more in the pocket. Like kind of speaking to that point with the Marin suggestion, I'm like, I want to do what works. I do want to experiment and try things, but I want things to function well. I don't want to just be being weird or like doing stuff that makes me laugh and being like, that's funny. And like a whole audience might not get it, you know?
Yeah, I imagine you, and we'll get into like you're on the show and you sort of learn a lot of things and you sort of develop a sort of like expertise or understanding that there's like obviously the joy of experimenting, but there's also the joy of sort of like, I know exactly my instrument and I want to like wield it or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want, like, you see a lot of the great performers, like, there's not as much, like, there's not a sweatiness.
Yeah.
There's, like, they know what it is and they can deliver it. So, like, that's kind of what I'm more...
Not pushing.
Yeah. And I think, like, earlier on, there was more of that, like, trying to find it. So, yeah, I don't know if it has to do with being a parent. It might just be where I am in my life and, like, having pushed myself at the show, and I found that more towards the end.
Yeah.
So yeah. But we'll see. I mean, like... It could start to change though, like as I write more and more things down. But like as far as being a father and making him laugh, it's like, no, that's not going to work with anybody else. It's like, it's so simple. It's so simple. Yeah.
So part of the reason I wanted to have you on is when I had Sarah Sherman on, I asked her who at the SNL 50s she was most excited to see. And she said you. And I'm sorry for my part of the clip that you saw of me laughing at that thing. She just talks about how great of a guy you were and how everyone at the show was like, we're so sad that Beck has left the show. He's the best guy. And I just had never heard anyone even talk about anyone like what was it like seeing that?
I mean, I'm getting emotional now. Excuse me. It was insane. Like, I keep saying like, it's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like I was a spot where I was at it wasn't even like a particularly bad time. I just wasn't feeling great.
Yeah.
And I just gotten out of therapy and I saw a text from my wife that said, look at this clip right away. And I just like burst into tears, like making ugly sounds like, and I mean, it's that thing of like, that's like, I mean, growing up being like, if you ever feel like misunderstood or like not appreciated, you're like, someday somebody's going to do something like that. Or like you think about your funeral and the nice things that people might say. And then she did that, like, and then she looked out and she's like, love you, Beck. And she's wearing like a heart. And it's just like, it just blew my mind. It like really was just so sweet. And it is brought up all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's like the best thing I've done is Sarah saying that about me. And I mean, yeah, I just am, and it's like she is so amazing. The fact that she was able to just like do that. One of the things I love about her so much, and I think one of the reasons we connected so much, is because she's like, "This is who I am," and I'll say whatever. She doesn't say like things that she thinks are like right or like I'm a good person. I'm on the right side of politics or like social issues. Like and she is, but she says whatever she wants and she like gets away with it. It makes sense and it connects with people because she just has this like flow. This like, and her ability to like say that was just so cool.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, lots of people really nice at this, like, or just even like, yeah, Beck was like kind of cool. But the fact that it's sort of like, it felt as organic as the rest of her comedic voice. Being like, literally, this is how her brain processes how you.
Yes, yeah. And I was like, and now people will ask me about it. And I'll be like, well, I don't know if I'm the most liked. That was Sarah's experience. And yeah, I'm gonna. So yeah, that is true. I guess I'm not gonna take anything away from that. But yeah, it was really. She's just and yeah, like. Hanging out with her, we had just so much fun. She was just like such a special person.
I wanted to talk about it because it is a tremendous legacy in so much as I've interviewed a lot of people who worked at SNL. Yeah. I've read all the books. I'm sure you've read the books. Mm-hmm. This is not a reputation many people have. This is not to say everyone who worked at SNL has always been an asshole. It's just a stressful environment, and high-stress environments aren't when people are the most conscientious.
Yeah, totally. I'm and also like I was awful a lot. She never actually got to be there with me.
Well, yeah,
but people missed me. So,
well, we'll get into the sort of your more awful periods, but like, can you think of where it comes from the fact you're able to at some point be able to be a person that could have this reputation among, the cast, the crew were often talking about it. I feel like she was talking about like, the people that do makeup or whatever, like, I wish Beck was here. I miss doing Beck's.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of where that came from, being your personality or how you're raised?
I don't know. I mean, like I'm from the Midwest, and Midwesterners have that reputation of being nice or kind of like extending themselves, trying to be nice to people. But, I definitely wasn't always nice to people. And I was definitely like felt really bad, like a lot of people do, just about themselves and like bringing an energy around and being like, oh, I suck or I'm nothing or whatever. But I really don't know. I mean, I definitely grew up with a strong treat people how you want to be treated thing. I don't think I ever really was like, I'm not going to do that sketch. I never asked to be taken out of something because the part was too small. And I think that like maybe that's, I mean, I came up as an actor and doing comedy. So I do think, and especially because there's some people there that are like, have this star quality where it's like they just shoot. Like I kind of said, like, I'm not a star, I'm like a planet. I'm like there. And it's like the other, there's a gravitational pull and it's important, but it's not exploding, but it's a part of the system. And I think I take pride in making a sketch work, like playing, like whether it's a line or I'm the focus of it. Like I want to get as much out of it as possible, and whether I'm playing and to know, like, am I the straight man in this or am I injecting, a laugh here, or is it both? Yeah. And like really trying to like serve the writing as much as possible, and really show up and give it my all every time, and especially at the table read. Yeah. Which is, I think a lot of people would say is where I shine the most, and nobody got to see that because I would really just like give everything. I would never be like, I don't think this is funny, I'm not going to give it everything. So I think it was that combination of, trying to be nice to people and not have that like I'm better than this quality, and just show up as much as possible every single time. And then I think that's maybe why, because it's also like I have that like utility player aspect where I think I can play authority, I can play like sort of historical figures, political people. Like I think like the writers miss me because they could put me in somewhere for a laugh, especially at the table. Yeah, and to fill in a part like that.
What was your relationship to the crew? Do you feel like you have any memories that specifically highlight what your relationship was like to the crew
I mean, the crew being like everybody.
Everyone that's not writers and performers, because we'll focus a lot on that for the rest of the interview.
I mean, the crew took me like years to sort of get to know. I mean, and there are people there like Kenny Among, who was just the most wonderful person in the world. I feel like I had a strong connection with him, but he had a strong connection with everybody because he was just an incredible presence. And I mean, that goes for a lot of the other people there. But I don't really like, especially with like on the floor. It took me a while, I think, to really like develop more of a relationship because the first couple of years I was like, I'm fired. And I was in a tunnel, like a tunnel of fear. I couldn't even see straight. So it was like by my third year, it was like, hey, like, I should really, I feel good enough to open up and connect. And I mean, like Jody Mancuso was like the best. She's the head of hair. And like, I mean, I loved her so much. I'd like sit in her chair and she would like, it was like a barbershop. I'd be like, this is bugging me. And she'd be like, sweetie, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Like, and we'd talk about life and like, and then, there's some other like angels there that really.
See, this is why you get that reputation, the way you're talking about people. So, I mean, you talked about a little bit the beginning, how you felt on this show. And it reminded me of, Seth Meyers also has a very good reputation, especially as a boss.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah.
But like, I've talked to him and he goes, dude, until I got Weekend Update, I was not like nice to be around. And it seemed like your second season of the show, you had a really good first season, but second season of the show was really hard on you.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what it was about that?
So, the first season felt like sort of Hunger Games. There were, I think, 7 new cast members by the end of the year, and 3 of us stayed. So, people were struggling. I think like it was kind of a feeling when I got hired back, it was like, I made it through that. Now I can like relax a little bit. And, specifically during that time before getting a great therapist, I would rely on pizza and beer a lot to self-soothe. And I think I did that a lot that summer, came back, had gained a lot of the weight, was still not knowing how to take care of myself throughout that season. And I think what was hard about coming back was like, then they hired Leslie Jones and Pete Davidson, 2 stars, right out of the box stars. Like,
fully formed stars.
Yeah, fully formed stars, huge connection with the audience. And so it was kind of like, oh, wait, I thought I was going to like build on what I did, but now I'm like, all of a sudden like, and all the little tricks that I used, like whether it was Baby Boss for my audition or making videos with Kyle and Dave to solidify a presence, it was like, yeah, you did that. What else? And so then it was like, I don't know what else to do. And luckily, Tim Robinson and Zach Kanin wrote a lot for me and helped me out a lot.
We will get to those sketches. Yeah. I love those sketches.
But yeah, so I think it was like, it was like, oh, you didn't make it. There's no making it. It's a constant struggle. And you really need to learn to take care of yourself,
Is it correct that you were asked to lose weight? Or I believe the thing was you either had to gain weight or lose weight?
Well, so it was in between my second and third year that I did a short called How to Lose Weight in 4 Easy Steps. It was a short about heartbreak, and the third step is get your heart broken. And so for this short film directed by Ben Berman, I shot 2 days at the beginning of the summer and 2 days at the end. So that kind of came.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. That kind of came after I was asked. I was told by many different people in different ways, kind of some shitty ways, some like, oh, okay, maybe. And then it was like, yeah. So, and I'm keeping it vague on purpose. I don't want to, because there was definitely somebody who I don't think people would know that handled it in ways that was upsetting and frustrating and hard, which probably made my second year even harder, And then there was somebody who put it to me in a way that kind of made it click. And then again, I don't want to say that person's name because asking somebody to lose weight is, controversial. So, but it was put to me in a way where I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Like, it's like you want to be comfortable, you want to be confident, you want to be able to you know, if I'm there to play these certain parts, I want to be able to be that person, to look like that person. That's kind of the reality of our business. To some, you know, and it changes a lot. Like there are different body types playing different parts that they haven't been able to play for a while, which is great. But that's kind of how it was put to me. And then this short came up, and so I was like, great, I'll lose weight for this short. And lost, like 30 pounds in between season 2 and 3. And then at that point had a therapist and could kind of like start to level out a little bit.
One other thing I want to ask was when you're on Brooks Wheelan's podcast, he mentioned in passing that you guys butt heads during your first season. And this was during the Hunger Games aspect. You're 2 first-year cast members. He was a 1-year cast member. But like, what did that look like? Where did that come from? How did you resolve it? What did you learn from that experience?
Well, I'll answer the 2 parts first, and then remind me if
Sure.
But I think it was just like, you know, I auditioned with Brooks. We were in similar circles in LA. We didn't know each other very well, but yeah, we came up, did the audition process together, got it. Like we're buddies. We're part of the same circle. We have some like very close friends, mutual friends. And then you get there and it's like, well, me, Dave, and Kyle are going to be making videos. And he would kind of, I think maybe be like, let's do something. And we'd kind of be like, well, this is kind of our thing. And then, so I think maybe he felt like, why can't we all work together naturally like that?
Yeah.
I understand why he was upset. And I mean, like, I'm assuming, but I think it was a little bit of that because there was never like a big thing. Like you said this thing or like, like there was never a moment where I was like, fuck Brooks, or like he was like, there was no fight, but it was just that energy, I think, of like, and we shared a dressing room, me, him, and Kyle. So, and that's just like hard when somebody else is in the show and doing stuff and you're not, and you have to be there. You have to sit there all day in your dressing room just in case they need you for something. So I think it was kind of like, it was just a natural competition. And sort of like, and as far as that, I mean, that was how it started, but I think that it was like almost like it felt like there was a jockeying for like, I'm accepted. Like you're not accepted, or like, kind of like elbowing, like a little bit of that sort of thing. So it was very minimal, but it was like, it kind of, it was almost like in a way where I was like, I didn't know that you were mad, but then I could kind of see afterwards. And then there was a little bit of frustration. I don't know if I'm doing a great job of.
Well, it's just curious because it's like, I imagine to be the reputation you have, you would have to be able to like navigate the personalities of this, and like and that takes experiences. And I thought it was interesting to just get a sense of like, oh, like of course there's gonna be cast members that have feelings every episode because of whatever happened, and then you're having, it's complicated for, even if you're on the show, you have those complicated feelings, and you're like, you almost like don't have time for it. You're trying to figure out the sort of balance of it.
Right. Well, you see people are hurting or in pain, and you're like, I just have to make sure this works. Yeah. And then so they might be like, well, you don't give a shit about me. Like you like didn't, and I do think, again, to the point of not being able to take care of your feelings and booze being an outlet, like that can just make things worse and cloud your perception. And I think that there's like a little bit, and like lack of sleep, like we weren't sleeping, and it's just like you just lose perspective on things. I think you maybe take it out on each other a little bit.
As you got later into the show, when 2 cast members or a cast member and like say a director were having a conflict of one way or another, let's just say, for example, how did you feel like you had a responsibility to try to help the situation?
Okay, so like if there's a conflict between a cast member and a director,
let's say,
that happened very little, and when it did happen, it was almost so stunning that you didn't know what to do, and then it was like a flash, and then it kind of went away, and it was kind of like what was that? You know what I mean? In the instance that I can think of it happening, it was like, it doesn't feel like there's anything to be done, and it's kind of like somebody should be stepping in here that has some power or say. that's kind of, and that was like their kind of singular examples. Yeah, because otherwise it would be really like just somebody being like, I don't want to do this, and asking to be taken out of it, which is kind of, that person says sorry or like, does something to make up for it later maybe. But yeah, typically there were very few instances where you would have to step in and mediate between people. Yeah, I think unfortunately, like if there was any sort of conflict, a lot of it would be like the way it would manifest would be cold shouldering and silence and lack of response to the person. And so you can't really go like, hey, smile at that person, include them. Like it's also like happening to you all the time. And it's almost, so it's hard to really like step in. I will say though, but people like younger cast members would come to my office and like be upset and, be in tears or whatever. And I would be happy to be there for them because other cast members were the same for me, like whether it was Vanessa Bayer or Aidy Bryant, who was, I'm getting emotional again. She's just.
Were you thinking of a specific example? With Aidy?
She was just always there and always helpful. And yeah, just always provided so much like incredible advice. Just like very, very generous. She helped me with leaving the show, actually. I was frustrated. Man, two cry moments. It's wild. I was like, it was my last week. My wife was pregnant. She was like 11 weeks or something, or just like 12 weeks. And it was just at the point where you could tell people, and the tests were, showing that it was a healthy baby. And I wanted to do this sketch that I had put it to table a couple times, and it was like previous years that I wrote with Andrew Dismukes. And I put it to table, and they were like my third to last show of the season. And they were like, we're not going to do it this week. We'll do it next week. Put it to the table next week. They didn't do it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is my 8th year. This has killed every single time. And I get like, it is a weird sketch, and a lot of weird sketches that kill at table do not when it comes to the studio. But I was told to bring it back, and I was so mad. And then it was the last week, and I was like, I told her Jesse's pregnant, and I think we're going to LA to have the child. Like, that's where he's going to be born, and that's where we're going to raise him, and that's what feels right for us. And, and I was kind of like, Lorne didn't pick this sketch, so I don't want to tell him. And she was like, tell him. Like, you have a great relationship with him. You want to leave with a great relationship with him. And don't let this like little, snafu, this thing that we've all experienced so many times, get in your way of leaving. And so yeah, I talked to him in between dress and air of the last show.
It was not busy at all.
Yeah, not busy at all. Good time to just be like, I'm out. Yeah. I'm having a baby. My wife is pregnant. We're having a baby. We're doing it in LA. But yeah, so she was very helpful with that at the very end.
Yeah. I think we're done with the crying. Don't worry.
Thank God.
I think all the rest of these questions.
I didn't do it on purpose. It was connected to the Sarah thing. It's like, it is a hard show.
Yeah.
But there's so much humanity in there and connection. That's really incredible.
So we talked a little bit about your ability to play a straight man, and I do think it was perfect timing in that you come in right when Jason Sudeikis and Bill Hader are leaving, who play different parts of straight man roles in sketches. Yeah. So then there was like a huge void of both like dads, boyfriends, and game show hosts.
Yes, exactly.
Were you deliberate about it, or did someone just go like, well, that guy sounds like he's from the Midwest. He's the dad.
I played that. Like, that was like advice that I got from, like, I was always playing old men in theater school. Yeah. And I remember like one of my acting teachers being like, what parts are you going to play? You're graduating, you're 22. And I was like, old men. Like, so that was always something I did, again, probably because of my voice and everything. But like, I was doing the AT&T commercials with those kids at the time, and I was wearing a suit and, speaking in a serious voice and playing it very straight. So they were like, oh, he's in a suit. He has this voice. He's wearing a tie. He could probably do it. He's part of Good Neighbor, who like Kyle had auditioned the year before, and Lonely Island had kind of, I think shown some of our videos and been supportive in that way. So they were like, oh, he comes from this, but he's also doing this. So that's how it was like, you're a perfect fit for this change. So
I do feel like I remember in your story of how you got the job, Lorne goes, we'll be able to use you. And like, little did you know, he's like, boom, 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 boom. Like, the last sketches need dads or boyfriends.
Yeah, it's just like there's a lot there. I think and that's again like why my absence was felt.
Probably one of your most famous straight man performances was in the David S. Pumpkins sketch. You really drive the sketch, even though because otherwise there's so much time where David S. Pumpkins is not on screen.
Yeah.
What do you remember from that? Shooting and blocking any of it?
That's funny. I feel like this is the first time I've been asked about it. But like, thank you very much. That's a great compliment. I remember like Seth Meyers was hosting this museum gala that we go to every year.
Yes.
And he like said something about David S. Pumpkins and was like, Beck Bennett, hell of a straight man. I was like, whoa. Like, anyway.
Because you really are, you play the like, I'm scared. What is?
Yeah,
you're like
I'm so in the weeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that was like part of the big part due to Streeter Seidel, Mikey Day, and their great writing. But I think it was like the setup. The setup allows me to be a great straight man because it is so insane.
Yeah,
and it is like just what the fuck is happening here, and like there's like jump scares or whatever, and like So I don't know exactly if it's like, oh, I knew how to thread the needle perfectly. It was just like the circumstances of the sketch that like allowed me to kind of be funny as the straight man in my reactions and drive the sketch forward.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the part where you have to be scared by David Pumpkins, you're just like, he's playing not comedy scared. He's playing like as if he's scared.
Genuinely scared. Yeah. Yeah.
Masterclass.
No.
If anyone's aspiring straight man.
Yes, it's a lot of need for it. You got every sketch needs it.
My other favorite, I don't know why this one just stands out to me in terms of you playing straight man, is the sketch is Larry David is hosting, and he has a new wife, and it's Cecily Strong, who's playing, I believe, like a version of Erica Jane or something. Or essentially a woman who talks in gay slang, and then as a result, the entire sketch is Larry David breaking while saying gay slang he must have learned that week.
Yes.
And you are just stand there to be like, what are you talking about?
Oh my God, this is like such a foggy memory.
I think the larger question is, I can't remember you breaking.
I don't think I did. Yeah. I don't think I broke very little. There was one sketch I broke where there was supposed to be a doorbell and Cecily was on stage. Cecily laughing at you on stage is like the most funny and fun destabilizing thing you could have to your performance. I mean,
she's so grounded as well as a stage performer.
And her laugh, it like comes out like it's like I can't impersonate her laugh, but it just like pops and it's like uncontrollable. And it's like I can't do it. But yeah, I don't think I broke during that. But there was one sketch where there was a doorbell was supposed to ring, and I'm supposed to go like, that must be the something. And we're just sitting there, and I'm like, ooh, I think that I don't even know what I say. Yeah. I should watch it again so I know exactly what I say. But yeah, her laughing at that made me break.
It's wild. Yeah. Was it a point of pride or just sort of the nature of how you?
I think it was how I, coming from an acting background, I would wanted to be in it fully and committed. I liked being committed, which actually looking back, I let go of that a little bit more. It's not a fault, but it was something that on that show, you want to have fun. You want to be loose. You want to be and not just trying to do it right. So I think I did come from that, and I tried to let that go and play and be in the moment a little bit more.
I feel like it's the best impressions of SNL are someone reaching for the impression more than this sounds exactly like that person.
Yes, and having fun with it. Kate McKinnon just dancing around. She was just so free with her impressions and that.
It's interesting time you were on SNL because you were playing a straight man at a very interesting time for straight men generally.
Yeah.
So you were in a lot of post-Me Too sketches playing male feminists that revealed they were creeps.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, a lot of the stuff that, like, Tim and Zach wrote or Che wrote for me, like, toxic guys that killed at the table, but, like, you get it in front of an audience during that time. They were like, no, we're not in support of this. We're not, this is not funny. We're not laughing at this. So it was definitely like, I was like, oh man, how do you play that? How do you bring that to this audience and make it work? And it was hard.
Can you think of I'm going to ask you about 2 Tim and Zach sketches that did get on air, but can you think of one that didn't get on the air?
I mean, the first one that I did live was, I mean, we kind of did a version of it with Chucky Chocolate, which is but like I can't remember the name again. Like I haven't thought about it for so long, but it was Chris Rock was the host. So it was, I don't remember what year that was. It was my first or second year. It must have been my second year. Yeah, Leslie was there.
Leslie.
Yeah, because Leslie
Bomb.
was supposed to to like fake punch me, and she actually punched me because
that was a wild episode for Leslie. Leslie was in like I believe I talked to her about it. It's like one of the most famous bombs of the last 10 years.
What was
her and Chris Rock are in a sketch where they play married couple and they just are screaming at each other.
Oh yeah,
It just plays like a play.
Yeah. But in that sketch, like I'm playing. It went to dress. I'm playing a guy who's getting fired from his job. He's at the office, and Chris Rock is the boss, and he's like, "Get out of here, Chuck." I think that was his name. Whatever. Get out of here. Like, yeah, don't come back. And I'm like, well, it's been a great. I'll miss y'all, Diane. You and all your, whatever. Like you and all your trinkets on your desk. So funny. It's like, Steve, you flashed me in the stairwell. There's nothing good here. I love the laughs. And like going around and like saying I was going to miss everybody. Everybody's like, you're a pervert. You're disgusting. Get out of here. And at the end, Leslie goes to punch me and she actually punches me. But like before doing that sketch, Chris Rock was like, and he knew it was not going to go well. He was like, well, man, this is it. This is your defining moment. This is when you become an SNL cast member. Good luck. And it was like crickets. So that was one of the first ones
that does sound like Tim and Zach. So you're in, I think what Tim and Zach really were good at is you start a sketch and you assume your character's the straight man or one of the straight men and slowly or quickly reveal himself to not be.
Yes.
But Mr. Westerberg is like a masterclass of, I said masterclass twice, but it really is a great sketch. But like, for those who haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube. But can you explain the basic arc of this sketch?
I mean, that is probably my favorite. That and Brothers are like my favorite sketches. But yeah, it's a bunch of coworkers sitting around at a greeting card company, and they're writing. I forget if they're talking at the top, but their boss comes in and he's like, it's Bobby Moynihan, brilliantly. He's like, hey guys, he has this high pitched voice, and he's like, when you clock out, it's whatever. It's a clock out at 5 p.m., not 4:45, not 4:50, 5 p.m. And he goes back into his office, and we're all like, start doing impressions of him, and it's like Reese Witherspoon and Kanin and Vanessa, I think.
Vanessa and Pete.
Yeah, Pete. And they're like, man, you got to do this. And I'm like, I forget the first thing I say. And I'm like, I'm laughing at first. And I'm like, what is my character's name in it? Is it Peter, David, whatever. It's like, David, pull your pants down, squeeze your cheeks together. I don't want to see any crack. Yeah. And they're like, what? That's not the first thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's a belt to up.
Yeah, and it's like, they're like, did he say that to you? And I'm like, it's just stuff that he says to all of us. And they're like, what? And then it gets interrupted by Mr. Westerberg coming back in, and they go back into that's the game, and it elevates. And then at the end, he comes in, and he's like, get in here. And I'm like, got to go see the boss. He's like, I got to talk to you. Come into my office. And they're all just like, oh my God, this man is tormenting our coworker, and he has no idea. He thinks it's just kind of like normal boss stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's so fun. And like what I love about it is, I mean, it's just such a clear, simple, easy game, and they elevate it with the funniest, silliest form of, molestation.
Squeeze your butt cheeks together.
Yeah, it's like silly, weird, and like the character just eases into it. He never has a moment of like, being like, well, no, that does like I don't know, like he's the same note the whole time, and like a lot of times in sketches, it's like, oh, you're playing this character, but I feel like that was one of my best performances in a way because he's just like kind of sweet and he like goes into it, and it's like it feels like a real guy.
Yes, and like it is escalating, but your performance is not escalating, right? Right? You get, I think it slow zooms into you as you go on a real rant, but you're still like same thing, and then the end is like, it's like freaking Mr. Westerberg. He's actually pretty cool.
He's actually a pretty good guy.
And then they're just like, did that happen? Just like, I think I would remember. And then you just sort of like the way you walk to his office, truly same affect.
Yeah.
But Bobby has this really mean face. That's a funny note to add.
It's one of my favorites.
The other that I loved was the Jason Momoa sketch.
Yeah, love that one. That was during my last season. Yeah,
and they weren't even there. I think they came back with this.
We like talked about it. They like maybe we Zoomed or maybe it was just a phone call, but they were like, we got this idea, and I talked to them a little bit about it. I don't even know if I added anything to it, but its
basic premise is you're meeting your wife's parents, and then they show up, and then you're hiding.
Yeah, and immediately it's like, well, where is he? And you just hear me go, bet you can't find me. I feel like that came from having a child now. I feel like that must have come from their kids.
Yeah,
maybe Zach's kids because they were younger, but like Ruby, my son is always like, come find me. It's like hiding, and he's always like hiding in a very obvious place. But anyway, like. Yeah, that was so fun.
What is it about those guys?
I don't know. They're brilliant.
Sure.
They're the funniest. They write the funniest stuff. And I mean, like now the world has seen it. Yeah. Luckily, plenty of times now with their show and with both of their shows. But I don't know because I'm like you can't really. I don't think you can just break it down to like a formula. It is like a new. It's a very unique energy, phrasing of words, and the delivery of the words. Like it's like they would often be like, because Tim, he was writing stuff that he would want to perform.
Yeah.
Whoever got to perform it was lucky enough to basically be doing what Tim wanted to do. And there's a lot of just kind of like talking like this and like kind of like, but you liked it, right? And like there was a sketch they wrote that I was like, I was a character who oh my God, he had like a house underwater or something, and he kept opening the door and water kept flooding in, and he kept getting upset, and then he asked people like, do you think I'm stupid? Anyway, that's not a great story because I don't remember all the details well.
But if you're a fan, you kind of already can see how that would escalate. I mean, there is this, because like, I like playing, I would play this last week, I'd play people Mr. Westerberg. Yeah. They'd be like, do you know who wrote it? And then they'd be like, it's hard to know without Tim doing it. And he's like, oh, it's Zach and Tim. And you're like, oh, I can see it by the way you are, the cadence of your talking. And it is like,
squeeze it together. I don't want to see any crack. Like,
yep. Drop it.
Yeah. Bang it up. Drop it. It's really, so I think it is like, because they're writing with that performer's voice in it, like, as opposed to being, if they were just writers that were like writing ideas for other people's performances, like the cadence and the phrasing is really baked into everything.
You essentially had probably, in a sense, every week I'll probably be on the show because they'll need a person, and I will be that person. Yeah, where there's so many people on the show who are like, what am I doing every week? Mm-hmm. But I imagine like, especially like you and Kyle probably had a different experience. So like Kyle, like, especially if they need little kids, like Kyle got to play little kid a lot, but like he had to like every week, like, what's my thing? How am I going to, were you jealous? Were you content? Like, oh, I'm so happy that I get to be on the show every week. It's like, oh, I wish I had to like really prove my thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because I think it was a little bit of both. Sometimes you'd be pushing for something and you might be told like, well, you're covered.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but like I'm serving somebody else's idea. Like I want to have my thing because it's interesting. I was thinking about this recently. Even if you're in the show, like say like like if there was a week where I was like, I'm not writing something this week, I don't have a good idea, I want to get some sleep. I had a big show last week and the week before. But like, if I didn't have a horse in the race, is that the phrase?
We'll see what dog in the fight.
Dog in the fight. Like, it's just not as fun.
Yeah,
and you're kind of like, oh man, there's this part of the experience is being like, I put my neck on the line. Like, I think it's good, and like, even if it doesn't get past dress, there's like you're kind of like part of this effort to build the show. But I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think towards the end, I felt good about the role that I was playing, but you still have that desire to have a unique thing that you wrote get on the show. And I think that, like, it's often, for me at least, it'd be like, oh, it'd be a character.
Yeah.
You know, not as much of a sketch. And, you know, that really didn't always happen. But ultimately, yeah, I'm very, very happy with like the role that I played and being, you know, valued, trusted by writers to be put in so many sketches and play different parts. So
what was the SNL 50 like for you?
it was amazing. It felt like I was on like Molly or something the whole time. And I was very prepared to feel bad, you know, because it's there's so many people there. And it's like, I'm like, oh, there's going to be a party that I'm not invited to and everybody else is. Or, you know, the thing that I'm in is going to get cut right before the show and I'll be sitting there in costume and I wouldn't have been able to watch it because I was backstage getting ready, but my part got cut or whatever. None of that happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't left out of anything and I got to perform. And so I got to be there during rehearsal on Friday and Saturday. And just hang out with everybody and see, you know, all the cast members that I was there with. And it was just so nice and easy and to meet the new people. Also, like one of the things that was amazing about Sarah is that like I was like, she's so cool. She's not gonna like me. I'm gonna be like this old lame ass dude. She's gonna be like, yeah, like what's up? And I'm gonna be like, I don't know. And like no, but like it was, and like hanging out with James and James Austin Johnson, and it was just so fun. And reconnecting with like Taryn and hanging out with him there and Bobby, it was so fun. And seeing everybody in the crew, and like it was like seeing like Bobby, one of the security guards there. It was like he was just like. Yeah, I was just like, oh, hey, man, like, I feel like it was like I saw you yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really, it's like going back, it was 4 years since I'd been there. And, you know, it's like, oh, when am I going to go back? What is it going to feel like? And it did feel like home.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So Sarah got to meet you. Who did you get to meet? That was exciting.
Mike Myers. Adam Sandler introduced me to Mike Myers, and it was definitely a moment where I was like, he's like, hey, yeah, Beck's funny, you know, and because I was there when he hosted, and I was like, oh, thanks, man, you're funny too, you do great stuff, and yeah, you know, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. Nice to meet you. But like, I don't know if there's like,
you met Beck? Did you meet Beck?
I met Beck. I'd met him before, but we took some Beck back-to-back photos, which we had taken the first time he was musical guest when I was there. Yeah, I kind of had met a lot of people at the 40th already.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was the 40th better than the 50th?
Not for me. No. I mean, the 40th was great, but I was like, that was my second year, and I was like, I'm going to be fired. I'm just going to be like, I work here, and I'm just going to have fun with this. So I was having a great time too, but this time it was especially being able to be a part of the show, it felt like, oh, this is really a part of me, and this is like, it's not just something I did. And you know that because anywhere you go, that's like the first credit is Saturday Night Live. But like going back, you're still a part of it. And like going on stage for the Domingo sketch, it was like going into an avatar. It was like my body knew what to do. And I was like, oh, I get to do this again. This like live audience and like filmed, and you know, it was really, really special.
A few months later, you played Putin in a White Lotus parody that was like Trump associated.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, we were watching, I was like, oh, you're just Putin forever. Like no, you just like, if every time there's Putin in a thing, they will call you first.
Yeah, I guess so. They did.
Right?
And,
Like, that's like forever for, like there's only so many political impressions that are like, well, that's that person's impression.
Yeah, I guess so.
How does it feel? Because you didn't go into the show being like, well, I love the political satire. Yeah, that's the only thing I want to be part of.
That's what you're hiring me for? No, not at all. It feels great. It's also, a really problematic
guys
person. So it is a little sketchy, it's like, I don't know how much I want to be. There's always the thing of like, could I be assassinated? Which is not a real fear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm proud of it. I feel flattered that they called me back and that I'm still connected to it. And maybe I'm just the person who's willing to take their shirt off.
You did set a really hard precedent for that.
Yeah, is that like anybody else? Like, yeah, take your shirt off. Like, let him do it. Which was always when I was there. Was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to take my shirt off this week. God damn it!
Give me 4 weeks notice for when you're gonna be
exactly. Yeah, just give me a heads up. That would have been perfect.
So now it's time for the final segment of the show. It's called a Laughing Round. It's like a lightning round, but because it's a comedy podcast, it's a Laughing Round. In the grand tradition of WTF with Mark Maron, who are your guys?
I would say it was Ben Stiller, Conan O'Brien. Just comedy. Yeah. I guess like Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like, and at one point I would say Gene Wilder. But those were the people.
Yeah.
I think I grew up loving Bob Odenkirk. Like Ben Stiller show was a huge influence on me. But yeah, Ben Stiller, his like ability to play like psychos was like I made movies with my friends and like even like The Cable Guy, like loved The Cable Guy, but like his sort of his comedic voice was a big deal. And I would love playing those sort of like wide-eyed screaming lunatics.
Have you met Ben?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, he's great.
Do you have a favorite joke, like street joke?
The thing that comes to mind, one of my like things about comedy, one of my struggles is I'm like, I don't tell jokes. I wish I knew joke formats better, as far as they applied to sketches and characters. The joke that this comes up is why is 8 afraid of 7?
Yeah, why?
Because 7, 8, 9.
It's great.
Yeah.
It really is. Especially you're around kids and you're just like, wow, it really is so, you're just thinking about the first 10 numbers a lot.
Yeah. It's classic. It's right there.
Is there a sketch or a character you wish you could steal or wish you got to do on SNL that was yours and everyone's like, oh, I love Beck's character X, but it was actually whatever?
There's so many, there's so many, great characters or sketches I feel like I wish I could have done. But as far as like a sketch that I think would have been up my alley and would have been suitable for me would have been Get Off the Shed. Mm-hmm. I think I tried to do stuff like that a lot. I even came up with like an idea at one point that was like, get in the van, get in the car, but like that sort of yelling, that dad energy, the yelling, the
get in the car. To do Get in the Car on SNL when Will Ferrell famously did Get Off the Shed. It's like,
hey man, I didn't write it. I didn't even get there.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Do you have a short story of an interaction with a legendary comedian, living or dead, you're willing to share?
Let's see. Okay, first thing that comes up, again, maybe I have better ones, but whatever. One of my favorite hosts was Larry David. We had a great time with him whenever he came through. And early on, maybe it was after he hosted once, like we had met, and I think he was in the guest dressing room to play Bernie Sanders. And I was walking by the hallway, and they sit there with the door open, and gotta go, like he's like, I'm like, hey Larry. He's like, hey, how you done? I'm like, not great, but also not bad. But, I'm not, it's fine. I'm not going to tell you about it, but, not great. And he was like, I love that. Thank you. Everybody says good. Nobody's good. You were honest with me. You told me you weren't good, but you're not telling me why. I don't want to know why. Thank you for not telling me why, but thank you. Just an honest reaction. Now we can move on. That's it. Like, and it was like, yeah, great. Yeah. And it was just like such a Larry David moment. And
he really seemed like he just going around looking to curb your enthusiasm in his own life constantly.
Yes, absolutely. But like the sweeter sort of more, like he's always like, he'd be like, he would make a bit out of anything. Be like, what are these nuts? Why do they have nuts here? This is not a place you want nuts. There's a bowl of nuts. Why am I going to have these nuts? Maybe a mint with a wrapper, but a loose mint? I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like he's always like,
I remember he came to my school to speak for something and he needed something printed out. And then they asked me, and I was like, oh, that person, it's like, blah, blah, has it. And it's like, who is that guy? Why is there always a guy? And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you really are willing to sort of like.
He's always finding material and like bringing you into it.
Yeah. What is something that people think is comedy that you think isn't?
Sometimes I would say certain types of like, I don't know if this is the right term, but like hate watching, like when people, I get the idea of watching videos, whether it's like, I get the idea of people being people and displaying behavior that is like, oh, they did that, or like, oh, that's uncomfortable, because there's like a truth to that. There's something that you can see and then, use that to create something, or, it can be creatively stimulating. But I think when you're watching material of somebody else's and you're cringing and you're laughing at it, it really makes me uncomfortable. I again, like I'm trying to, I can't think of the exact instances where I was a part of a group of people doing this, but yeah, finding like, kind of making fun of people watching and then even just using that, it makes, I don't like finding material that way.
What's the worst advice you've ever gotten?
I feel like I only remember like any good advice that I might have gotten. So this is maybe I'm answering your question. It may not be really answering your question, but this is my answer, whether it answers it or not. Leaving SNL, I called Bill Hader for advice because I love the work that he's done, and my wife was on Barry, and some friends of mine were on Barry, so I would see him and after he had left the show and everything, and I called him to ask for advice, and he gave me great advice, which was basically, don't just take what comes to you. Try to, go after the things you want. He's like, I auditioned for Trainwreck 6 times or something like that. I wanted that. I went at go after the things you want. Try to make things that you want to be in, be patient. Obviously, you have to like take jobs or make money. Try to find a way to put yourself in a situation where you can make good creative choices. And I was telling a friend that, and I was like, yeah, he gave me this great advice. And he was like, well, yeah, but you're not Bill Hader. And I was like, oh, yeah. And for a second, and this was like right after I left, right before a huge industry up, there was a slow, weird time, whatever. I was having a baby. And there's part of me that was like, oh, maybe he's right. Like, I can't just like I can't just be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll wait for the right thing. Yeah. Like, you got to take what comes your way. But I think now I'm in a position where I have set myself up to be able to make those choices, and I have set up a life balance that really does work for me. So I think that is like the piece of advice. It's like, it's the idea that like good advice only applies to people who can afford to take that advice. And I'm like, no, it actually applies to everyone.
Good advice applies to often to the person themselves, right? It's the but
this worked for me.
But you have to like figure out how to translate it to what your life's version of it is,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Like his advice, like, oh, well, create a show for HBO, right? And have it be somewhat dramatic, so then you sort of really open yourself up.
Critically acclaimed to get some Emmys and for best director or whatever, best performer or whatever writing. Like, just do that. No, that's not what he said. It's like, just set yourself up to where you can make choices.
I think it's a good advice.
Yeah.
Best host, worst host.
I mean, do people answer this question?
This is the first time I asked it. I want to see if
Best host, worst host. I mean, best host.
Is it harder to answer best host or worst host?
Well, worst host, I really don't answer on record.
Got it.
Let's see if I.
We'll see. I might never ask this question again if it seems like everyone doesn't want to answer. Everyone agrees they don't want to say Donald Trump or Elon Musk.
Yeah. I guess. So yeah.
In many ways, that gives you guys an out.
I feel like that is an out. Yeah. So best host. I did always love when Larry came, but it's hard to say one. Like, and unfortunately, it's kind of, and I mean, like, Ryan Gosling was always a great host. Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell. I had like one of my special weeks when Adam Sandler hosted, and he was amazing.
What about it?
I was in a lot of stuff. I wrote a very weird song that did not connect, but everybody loved at the table read, and he was in, and everybody loved. It's called "Clothes Are Holes," about a song about how clothes are just holes that you put on your body to cover your private holes. And it died, and nobody knows about it. But I got to do that, and I got to be in a video with Adam, and like just a bunch of other stuff, and we like hung out a lot. And it was like, first time he was back, and he was just so cool and awesome and supportive. So that week was really special. I think like Larry was probably, and he came a lot, even as a guest. So worst host, Elon Musk.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, and that is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've heard you talk about where it's like Donald Trump, there's problems with it, but like he was kind of like, he wasn't pitching ideas.
Yeah. He wasn't telling you sucked and then being like, this is funny. He was like, yeah, I got it. If anything, he'd be like, any good idea, he might be like, yeah, that was my idea. And you're like, what? That's so weird. Like, what is this guy? Yeah.
Where Elon Musk was like, here's this would be funny.
Yeah. And then like kind of like take a direction with a character in a sketch where you're like, you're tanking this.
Yeah.
You're blowing it.
What's a sketch that never worked? Maybe tried it more than once, maybe didn't. But you'll go to your grave being like, I was right, everyone was wrong.
The sketch that they didn't put on my last year. So I would love at some point to show that to the world, even if it's like doing it at live shows. But it is a sketch that I wrote with Andrew. And who knows? Maybe there's a world where this is tone deaf or so. He's like, the host is like getting together with his college friends in New York. He just moved there or something. And they're all like, yeah, we're all here in New York. He's like, since I've been here, this is one of my best friends. And like, I come in, I don't know what my character's name is, but he comes in and the description is he has no forehead. Like his hairline is right above his eyebrows. And he kind of like talks like, I think he kind of talks like this. Like kind of like, what's up, man? Like kind of like that. And then so that's the character, and then it plays on the trope of if you're hanging out with people who are like, oh, did you read that article that says like waste and yeah, did you see that article that says we have like a plastic spoon worth of plastic in our head? Oh yeah, did you see? And like this guy goes, oh yeah, did you see that article that says like I think people with like no foreheads and high voices are really good in bed with guys and girls and kind of anybody who's down to get in there? I think I read it in Reuters. And then at some point they're like, dude, it's obviously you're making this up. And he pulls out printed copies of the articles. Now I'm like giving the whole sketch away, but he pulls them out. And then you learn that like, he's like, no, like these are real. And then you realize that my friend, the host, is like, he wrote the articles to make me feel good about myself and boost my confidence. So then I'm like, so wait, am I like not actually really got in bed with guys and girls and anybody who wants to get down? I forget there's like a fun twist at the end. That's like not all of it, but... And like, yeah, never got to do it. pretty fun stuff.
I think it's pretty funny. What's the best time you ever bombed?
I think there's one time that I don't even want to bring up because the sketch was like, I'll allude to it. There was an SF Sketch Fest moment with Good Neighbor where we were like, oh, let's try this like sketch we did at UCB's Dirtiest Sketch. And we did it in San Francisco. And it was like crickets. It was so bad. I mean, I guess that. I mean... Immediately, though, I thought, so another one, I guess I was really bombing because we were trying, like, but in my first play audition in 7th grade, I was auditioning for Hello Dolly, like my one of my teachers, this woman, Darcy Day, who I'd not seen since 4th grade, but like allowed me to perform during class, and eventually was like, you should do theater, and really helped get me into it. But I was in this room with all these kids and their parents, and I stood it's like a dream. They had me stand in the middle of the room, and I was like, all right, can you hit this note? And I was like, ding, and I went, and I did not know. I couldn't hear pitch. Like, it was that moment that I learned I was tone deaf, and the whole room started laughing, and I was like, and they were like, and it was, oh, thank you. Okay, all right, thank you, Beck. And I like went back and sat down. I was like, what was that? And, like, I should have been like, I'll never get on stage again. But, it's just something that I remember. It was my first audition, kind of like putting myself out there, and everybody laughed. And then I tried to learn how to sing for the next 6 years of my life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great being here.